Hello, everybody. You probably don't know, but that song is country music. So it's one of my favorites, and I thought I would introduce it all to you, because you may not know of country music. This is my favorite place to be in the world. I painted this on the front of my trailer. This is my lake lot back here. This is where we're going to be living this summer. Anyway, my name is Morgana. I'm from Canada. And before I start, I just wanted to say that as I look out into the audience, that I actually know quite a few of you, and I really felt the love and support before I came up here. So I just really wanted to say thank you, and also from the previous speakers tonight, your act of being so incredibly brave and coming up here and sharing your story is also empowering to me too, as it is to all of us here tonight. So, I wanted to come to you guys tonight with a question. So, my question to you tonight is, have you ever struggled or felt defeated? Yeah, I think, that's a common human feeling that we all share. Everybody all over the planet. We go through ups and downs and valleys and hills. So I grew up in small, dingy rental housing all over Western Canada. And I lived with my mother, my brother, and my much younger sister. My mother's sole focus in life as an addict was to find her next set of alcohol and drugs. Constantly, all day, every day. She is still an addict today. She just recently was put into the hospital in Canada with COVID, and it's incredible. She was put into the hospital with COVID, and she was in some housing that was low-income housing, and there was drugs there. And she got COVID from in that situation. When she got put into the hospital, she was 68 pounds. 68 pounds, if you can even begin to imagine that. And she survived. I always bug her that she's on her 70-second lifespan because she overcomes so many things. She's now up to 89 pounds. So, wow. Yes. Yes, and she's doing really well. So, this is my mother here. Anyway, so my mother obviously struggles, and she has issues. And so my reasoning is that the reason that she needs to take drugs and alcohol constantly, all day, every day, is to quell whatever demons are in her head. So I guess partially to maybe reasoning out why is she was abandoned by her mother when she was 7 years old. And then her mother, my grandmother, our background is First Nations in Canada, so I don't know if you know very much about that, but definitely a lower segment of society that struggles. And so my grandmother was taken from her family as a child and put into residential school. So, and part of residential school is taking the Indian out of the child kind of thing. So cultural stomping on kind of thing. So there's generational trauma there that has gone down the line. So in some ways, I'm always trying to understand why people do what they do. So we had to constantly move as I was growing up. I lived with her till I was 13. And because we had to constantly move because instead of spending money on rent, she was always buying drugs and alcohol. So we had to constantly move. And her sole care for us seemed to be because she was getting more money from the social welfare system. So we were pretty, as these 3 children growing up, we were pretty devoid of like nurturing, love, care. Because I don't know if any of you know an addict, but an addict is really, really tough to love because they are incredibly selfish. The only thing that they can think of is what's going to come next in their life as far as quelling whatever is going on with them. So I'd have to say, like, I was definitely struggling. My siblings were struggling. We definitely felt defeated and really didn't know what to do about it. I mean, we were just children. And this was like a ginormous problem. Like, how do you fix this situation? It's pretty impossible. So, but what I got really, really good at as a child was whenever I, as we kept moving and meeting new people and whatever, I always seemed to find people that would be supportive of me, that I could find them and then they would support me in all kinds of different ways. And that could either be like a kid or an adult. And I just got really, really good at this as I went along. So jumping forward, I married at 20, had 3 kids by the time I was 30. I'm now 51. And I was divorced at 40. And this I will have to share with you that I'm happy about that too. So at that age of 40, my well laid out plan of what my life was going to look like came to this like abrupt halt. And I really didn't know where I was going to go from there because just my whole life, my whole adult life was tied to my ex-husband because we grain farmed together, we had oil and gas businesses, and I had never gone to university because when I was in high school, my school counselor told me I was not university material. And I believed her because I guess I was in that sort of frame of mind, right? And so I had never gone to college or university. So here I am at 40 years old. What am I going to do? This is incredibly defeating, struggling. I was struggling. Like, how was I going to make a living for myself and for my 3 children? So what I decided to do was go to university at age 41. Yes, I had never gone before. And at that time I was really surrounded by, I had a boyfriend at that time, and he was so incredibly supportive of me and really pushed me and believed in me. And I hadn't really felt that before, so that was really cool. So I went to university, but I do have to say that it was pretty tough. I had 3 children at home. I was commuting an hour and a half each way. I was learning to be an effective learner, which I wasn't when I was in high school. So I really had to figure that out as I was going along. So I failed my first Psychology 101 midterm.
It happened.
Yes, I did. And it was pretty enlightening. It gave me a big, huge kick in my patuta. And I really had to figure out, and I really questioned myself, like, what was I doing in university at 41? Who did I think I was? Like, could I even do this? Like, I've now announced, I've already invested so much, I've announced to the world that I'm going to university and I'm doing all this, and could I fail now? I was really struggling with this. But I have to say that failing that test was one of the biggest life lessons I'd ever gone through. It really, really opened my eyes and made me learn time management skills, how to prioritize my life, make game plans so that life and commitments didn't seem so overwhelming and insurmountable. And along that way, through those 4 years of university, I found a real love of learning. I really, I didn't enjoy the tests, but I really, really enjoyed learning. So that was really, really cool. I convocated at the age of 45 in 2014 with a teaching degree in my hand and freedom in my soul. With my education and newly found confidence in my abilities, because that's truly what I was missing, I felt like I could take on the world. And I did. 2017 found me leaving North America for the very first time in my life, flying to Abu Dhabi, and going there to teach and to travel. And then subsequently on to China. So pre-COVID, I hit 23 countries in 2.5 years. And then since COVID, I've traveled extensively around China and really got a really wonderful, great feeling for this beautiful, beautiful, diverse country. Love it. But as life teaches us, there are always struggles. Always. The saying is that struggles and defeats in life make us appreciate the highs all that much more. So a couple of months after moving to China, I was returning from a fun-filled day trip to Macau, waiting in the train station to board the train. And all of a sudden, I couldn't breathe. I was struggling taking any sort of a breath. And I had an incredible pain in my back behind my shoulder blade. And I knew something was really, really wrong. So I got put into the hospital, and they did all kinds of tests. And ultimately what they found are 3 abscesses on my lungs. So I was, sitting in the hospital here in China, contemplating surgery. How was I going to juggle my work commitments? I was here in China alone. I had no direct support system. I was navigating this new medical system that I had, of course, never had to deal with before. And I was also really struggling with language barriers. It was really, really difficult. And this whole thing really knocked me to my knees because I was on top of the world at that point. I was literally traveling the world. I was feeling indestructible. I could do anything. I graduated from university at 45. I'm doing all this stuff. And it really, really knocked me to my knees. Really, of course, made me reevaluate what was happening with me. There were a lot of good things, though, that came from my medical incarceration, I like to call it. I learned that whatever happened that didn't put me literally underground, I could face and I could overcome. I found in my work colleagues here in China this unbelievable, super duper support system and substitute family here in China. I also reached out through the conduits of social media, and I kind of went public with what was going on with me here in China, to all my friends and family back in Canada, really globally, because at this time I know a lot of people all over the world. And what I received in return was incredible. The support and the outpouring of love just came hurtling at me, and it was so cool to feel that. And it's not that I didn't know that people loved and supported me, but I didn't realize, I guess, to that degree. So that's something that really came out of that whole thing, and made me feel a lot better. This is me and my 3 kids. They're all adults now. So this is ultimately what life is all about. You know, that outpouring of love and support, and our community, and the people that we surround ourselves with. So life is about ups and downs, highs and lows, mountains and valleys, struggles and defeats. We need to meet these head on with perseverance, resiliency, positivity, an appreciation and a gratitude for every little thing that's happening around in our lives. For, you know, having a zest for life, a sense of humor, and really ultimately love. We need friends and family lighting our way, and we hopefully in return are doing that back to them. So, in closing, I wouldn't change my mountains and my valleys for anything, because they've led me here.